Hey everyone. So while Trudeau and his liberal cabinet and those propagandists, those people that comprise the majority of the establishment media in Canada, they've been out doing damage control for Trudeau in reference to that tweet he put out there basically saying, hey, if you're from any foreign country or if you're someone down there in the U.S. and, Trump's kind of putting the brakes on as far as having this mass influx of migrants into the country. Hey, come on up to Canada. We'll welcome you. Yeah, you don't even have to go through the legal route, which is kind of the crazy, and insane aspect of this whole file is the fact that there's people that go through the legal route, the legal means to come to this country, and there's a waiting list. I don't know how long it is at this point in time. I'm sure it's all being fast-tracked, but still, they got to wait in these big, long lineups, go through this state-implemented method and what it means and how you can get from point A to B. So if you want to come to Canada, you have to go through, criminal background checks. You have to have proper documentation of, where you're from, what the reason why you want to come here. Are you going to be a productive member of society? Do you have a history of criminality? There's a whole extensive process in what it means and what it entails to become a Canadian citizen. But as we're seeing with Trudeau's tweet, it was just like secret code more or less, or I guess not so secret after all, is, hey, now you can skip all that stuff because we got this loophole or multiple loopholes in our safe third country agreement with the U.S. where, hey, don't worry, just go to any spot along the Canadian border. Doesn't have to be an official point of entry at all. And matter of fact, yeah, you might want to avoid those official points of entry. But hey, if you come through one of those non-official points of entry, guess what? You'll be able to get fast-tracked into Canada, and the Canadian people will then be forced to have to deal with you. And it could take, and we're seeing today, I've heard reports of up to a decade for these people claims to be finalized. So at the very least, they're getting up to a decade of possibly living off of taxpayer money, right? This is the problem. This is just one aspect, one issue. But we're seeing now, it wasn't just people in the U.S. that reside or currently or at that particular time were residing in the U.S. decide, hey, we're not getting as many freebies because the Trump administration says no more. So, hey, look, Canada, though, Trudeau's saying, hey, the Canadian people will take care of you. Even though it's not like Trudeau actually asked the Canadian people, because if he did, he'd realize that, well, and we're seeing recent polls now that are coming out, 2/3 of Canadians say, no, we're not going to do it, and we don't want to do it. But he just arbitrarily, by political dictate, by political mandate, decide, hey, I'm the new ruler of Canada, and if I say you come here, come on in. And, well, not just those, like I say, not just those in the U.S., and not just those that are migrating up from South America, but now we're seeing even others all around the world that are taking up Trudeau on his offer. Headline out of CBC News, Manitoba. We are desperate for help. Asylum seekers in Micronesia accept Trudeau's Twitter invitation. They say tweets by the Prime Minister in 2017 give them hope for resettlement. This is being reported by Karen Pauls, August 6, 2018. Asylum seekers detained at a tiny island nation in Micronesia are pleading with the Trudeau government to resettle them in Canada. The group, representing 560 people, including more than 140 children, sent letters July 16 to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Immigration Minister Ahmed Hussein asking for help. They include a petition with 185 signatures. We heard that the Canadian government has taken a humanitarian policy on refugees and has made special arrangements when Syrian refugees needed safety, says the letter, sent to CBC News by Mehdi Naziri, one of the asylum seekers. So once again, this is just more proof. And hey, you can't deny this. They're literally pointing this out themselves. That, hey, it looks like Trudeau said that, hey, Canada is open. So if you want to come to Canada, hey, you don't have to, like they're suggesting, or like has been suggested by Trudeau, come on in, we'll fast track you, or at the very least, we'll set you up in a nice cozy hotel, try to find you a job, get you on public or social benefits paid for by the tax serfs, the tax slaves in Canada that are already overly indebted and having to deal with their own personal economic situations that aren't so rosy, ain't so cheery as some of these liberals would put forth or pretend. But they're saying, come on in, we're going to use this bleeding heart mentality. And don't worry, it's not like I said, like I've said in past videos, it's not like Trudeau, it's not like he's ponying up any of his trust fund cash to pay for any of this stuff, but he's more than willing to spend your money or to promote how benevolent he is, right? That's the funny thing. How, like, just think of that even as a concept. Like, use me as an example. If I was trying to pretend that I was, I care about these people, but yet I'm not going to pay anything out of my pocket. I'm not going to do anything, to actually prop up or bring in these asylum seekers. I'm not going to bring them into my home, but hey, I'll force other Canadians to do it. And look how wonderful I am. Oh, look how benevolent I am. I mean, how could anyone fall for such nonsense? We are desperate for help and a safe future. We are appealing to you to do anything you can to help us and for the Canadian government to consider resettling us from Nauru. And meanwhile, that's the other thing too. Well, you seen the pictures in the video? I'll try to post a link to the article where there's a whole 10 cities in Vancouver because people can't afford these ridiculously overinflated, these bubble area price valuations in the housing market. So now you find people in tiny homes. People are having to live in basically shoe boxes just to get by in Canada. And you got, all the homeless now that are out there, I guess, have to be stuck laying on the streets because all the asylum seekers have now basically used up all of the infrastructure or the beds that are available that were supposed to be predominantly for the domestic Canadian population, those who are desperate and in need in Canada. But, no. It's complete foreigners now that represent a priority in Canada. And the Trudeau Liberals are saying, hey, for you domestic Canadians that are in desperate need of help or have been screwed over or who have social economic issues that are detrimental to your own personal health or well-being, we don't give a fuck about you, but these foreigners, well, we do because, hey, guess what? They'll probably vote for us if we bring them here. I think even that is a pipe dream because a lot of them, once they do get here, trust me, they're not going to be big fans of these Trudeau Liberals as they suspect. Some of them may very well be, but a lot of them may very well turn against them. But that's not going to stop the Trudeau Liberals from propping up and promoting this kind of false pretense of benevolence as a means to keep bureaucracy and big government maintained and sustained. Because that's the other side of it. That's the flip side of the coin is government workers, those in the public sector, whether it's the border control or the RCMP or, welfare, social services, all these, people that are in different departments that help out these refugees or these newly created or invented departments that help out these refugees. That's a big plus. That's a big bonus. That's a big hiring program for government workers. But as we all know, government workers are just parasitical to the private sector. So public sector relies on all the wealth created by those in the private sector, and they get to benefit tremendously from it. So it's those in the public sector that are going to benefit from this kind of false pretense of benevolence on behalf of the Trudeau Liberals. Nasiri says he and his wife tried to enter Australia from Iran in 2013 because of religious persecution after he converted to Christianity from Islam. They were sent to the island nation of Nauru, about 4,000 kilometers from Sydney. More than 3,000 refugees and asylum seekers have been forcibly transferred by Australia to facilities in Papua New Guinea and Nauru since the introduction of its current offshore processing policy in 2013. So that's just political speak for the Australians saying, we'll try to put on a pretense that, we care, we want to help you, but you're just not coming here. You can go over there. But, like I say, at least the Australian people, I guess being an island closed off on its own, they're like, we really don't want to go down that road where a lot of these other Western nations have, because we see where it leads, and it's a lot harder to backtrack when you're stuck in this island way out in the middle of the ocean. What are you going to do then, right? Anyways, I'll post a link to this article in the description of the video, but I just wanted to show you that this is actually another, I don't know how many examples we have now, but this is another clear and concise example of, yes, Trudeau's tweet was reckless and irresponsible and causing massive pain socially and economically for the Canadian people, the domestic population. You know, the people that are living under the pretense of the social contract. Yeah, Canadians are realizing that, hey, the Trudeau Liberals, yeah, they ripped that up, tore it into shreds, and now they're reacting accordingly. And they're pissed off about it. You can't create a pretense of having a social contract and then completely go against it and ignore the people's plight without duly and rightfully suffering the backlash and the consequence. So let's make sure in 2019 that it's ABL, anything but liberals. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.